What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Wellman's Podcast. My name is Brian Brosey, joined by my friend and co-host Keoni Tita. Keoni, how are you today?
I'm doing really well today. I wanted to go over basically supplements again, nutraceuticals. I think we did this back in 2017. You said episode 12, right?
Yep.
We talked about what is the appropriate multivitamin to take.
Yes, sir.
Right. Well, today I think we discussed talking about what is like a foundational approach for supplements, what supplements are necessary, what supplements are unnecessary, specific conditions, supplements you may use for that, supplements that are absolutely unnecessary, things you should look for within those supplements. So I think we have kind of a lot to cover today, and a lot of questions will come up. And really, this is just my approach to recommending supplements and nutraceuticals for most of my patients. And everybody's different, so everybody gets a different prescription. But usually what I do to begin with that is I just have a foundational supplementation plan. And this is basically what nutraceuticals or supplements I think are absolutely necessary that most people, 99% of them, can benefit from taking. Yeah. So let's go over that. And this kind of refers back to episode 12.
Yeah. Okay.
And the first thing that I recommend for people across the board is a multivitamin.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think most people will benefit from a multivitamin, whether you eat the most perfect diet in the world or whether you don't, whether you're taking tons of medications or whether you're not. And there's a bunch of caveat to that. But most people can generally be very safe with taking a good multivitamin. And with my foundational supplementation, I most of the time, until I get to know the patient, I most of the time recommend a high potency multivitamin as opposed to a food-based multivitamin until I get to know the person. And sometimes we can back off on the high potency. So high potency is just what it seems to mean is, you're packing a lot of vitamins in that multivitamin at really high doses. And, you're taking individual components of each of those and putting them together in a pill. Whereas a food-based multivitamin is basically a multivitamin that dehydrates, vegetables and fruit. And then from that, you put it in a tablet or pill, and then you can get the recommended amounts of what it has as far as vitamin content in there. And typically a food-based multivitamin has less of the B vitamins and minerals and all that, because you're getting a whole lot of other things in that food-based multivitamin, like phytonutrients and stuff like that.
Okay.
Both of them are great, and I recommend one or the other, but typically I go to the high potency first until I get to know my clients and stuff. I may back them off, be like, well, you need to be on a high potency multivitamin to begin with, and then we'll probably switch you to more of a food-based multivitamin. But in general, I recommend, like if I see a patient and they're on a high potency multivitamin or a multivitamin in general, one that I think is really good, and I never see them again and they're on it for the rest of their life, I feel good about it. I can go to bed at night feeling good that, they're affording themselves some protection. And I really don't care for the word supplements. I think we ought to call supplements like optimizers, body optimizers, or body enhancers. And that's really what they're doing. So I think about these as foundational, optimizers for the body.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Keoni. I used to be on the train of not taking a multivitamin because I felt like you were getting so much at one time and you just kind of pee it out. You can almost see that half the time. Yeah. I know you talk about working in seeing the water plant and seeing like the hard multivitamin pills, like the Centrums or whatever in the water. So they're not getting digested.
Yeah. They're passing through the system. You can see them coming down the wastewater at the water treatment plants. You're right.
So as far as making it, but you still start there. And like you said, it's covering your bases. So that's still the starting point.
Right. That's my starting point. And why? The starting point is most chronic disease in this country is really due to the SAD diet.
Right.
A high amount of it is that, and that's not just my bias coming across. I mean, there's studies that indicate this. I think if I'm not mistaken, a number of surgeon generals have indicated that like 9 out of the 10 chronic diseases are at least influenced by poor diet, right?
Yeah.
So, and so taking a high potency multivitamin, the science bears this out, can help mitigate the poor effects of a poor diet. Now, look, it's like if you're eating an unhealthy diet, it's not like taking a multivitamin is going to solve all your ills. I'd much
Right.
rather my patients eat a healthy diet and get there. But whether you're eating a healthy diet or whether you're eating a poor diet, I feel like, a multivitamin is going to at least, give you some optimization for function in your body.
Yeah.
The B vitamins, the minerals, and so on. So you're not going to be subclinically deficient if you take that. I mean, we're talking about, I think some people said up to 90% of the country is subclinically deficient, meaning, they don't have clinical signs of it, but subclinically deficient of a lot of B vitamins and minerals. One of the main ones, which we talk about all the time, is magnesium.
Yeah.
And so magnesium does a lot of things to enhance the function of the body, certain biochemical pathways and stuff like that. So you're at least covering yourself. And we live in a modern world. I mean, even me and you are not going to eat the best diet. I mean, me and you work anywhere from 30 to 80 hours a week doing something. I mean, you're going to need convenience foods to just get through the day, whatever that may be. That's not ideal at all. You can consider that highly processed food. And a lot of times a multivitamin will help.
Yeah, it seems like the walls around the city, it's like the first step of defense. So you set up your little town and you start taking a multivitamin, you start putting up some walls, just some general barriers, and hopefully you're covering your bases. It's not going to protect against the horde of the coronavirus, but it's going to start building those walls. It's going to protect you.
But yeah, exactly. And even with that though, it may afford you some protection. Like it can possibly boost your immune system and, just enhance it a little bit. So it may afford you protection. I mean, I can't speak to a study and go, oh yes, definitely. But we do know that, subclinical nutrition deficiency can be mitigated by taking just a good formulated high potency multivitamin or a food-based multivitamin. But again, I just like, I know you're on the same page with me as this is, we want you to eat healthy too. That's really the first protection thing, right? Like lifestyle stuff. But the next tier down is what can we do to afford some enhancement? And so this is, using a multivitamin, and this multivitamin is one of those things that I recommend that, across the board, most people should be taking a multivitamin.
Yeah.
All right. And that multivitamin may be different depending on your age, depending on your gender, maybe even depending on certain conditions. So men probably, should not be taking a multivitamin that is packed full of iron. You're right. Men don't have a menstrual cycle.
Exactly. We talked about it last week.
They can tend to build up iron. A good multivitamin should probably have real vitamin A in it as opposed to just beta carotene. It probably should have real folate in it instead of folic acid.
Keoni, how does someone become the most aware, or what resource do they use to kind of understand what you just said there? Because that I'm not even fully aware of like folic acid versus folate, and the fact that you would want one or the other in your multivitamin.
Yeah, the people who are really experts in this out in society are going to be naturopathic physicians and functional medicine practitioners. Those are going to be the experts. It's not going to be your medical doctor, although some medical doctors are very, very good functional medicine practitioners. But it's really education outside of the paradigm they came from, that they got that from.
Okay.
So those would be the experts. Those would be the people to consult with. So, I do this every day, where people just call my clinic and just ask about, or email me or ask about, well, look, what do you think is a good multi for me and my situation based on my age and all that. So so multivitamins are not all the same, and some of them just have ingredients in there that are full of binders and things that really don't get well absorbed and can pass through your body. This is especially true in older people.
Yeah.
So picking the right multivitamin, yeah, you probably do want to consult with somebody. For most people, and I mean this, it's not as easy just going down to GNC and just picking something, a men's 50 multivitamin off the shelf. Go, oh, well, I'm 50 and this is what I'm going to take. I mean, if you're generally healthy, that may be helpful, but then you have to think, if you're going to spend the money on something, let's just make sure that it's getting into the body and it's not bound up with inert substances or fillers and things like that don't really help with absorption. So a high potency multivitamin is going to have the compounds in there that are the most bioavailable for your body. And that's why a lot of multivitamins that are doctor prescribed only, this is what the functional medicine practitioners and people like me would recommend.
Yeah. So, and we talk a lot about that in our multivitamin episode 12.
Yeah, in the episode. So
maybe we should
you can go back and look at that episode 12. The next, and so that's just, and the other thing about this, Brian, the reason why, me and you want to do is because I know when we see people, we not only see a ton of drugs that they're on, but we also see trash bag fulls of supplements. And, I'm sorry, if you're taking like 20 pills, 10 pills, whatever it is every day, first of all, you're not going to be consistent with that, nor should you really. Right. And you don't want to be eating pills all day.
Right. It becomes a neuroses almost.
Yeah, it really does become a neurosis, especially if you're the type of person, and I get this all the time, that goes online and, for example, like the coronavirus. I mean, honestly, you can just Google anything. Vitamin D, which it is, will help with the virus. Multivitamin will help. Taking your elderberry syrup, taking your, all this stuff, and before you know it, you're